really late. Oh, we are live and we're just giggling. Hey, goddesses. Hi, bliss babes. Hi, wise women. We are still getting ourselves together here. In fact, I want to move a little bit. Kirsten, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, wise women. We are still getting ourselves together here. Okay, and here, let me mute myself on the other. Oh, perfect. Okay. And maybe I should actually. So, Kirsten, do you want to just do an intro?
Yeah,
You were gracious enough to come here today, so I really appreciate that. So, yeah, go ahead and intro.
No, thank you. My name is Kirsten, everyone, and so I'm currently living in Spain, and I'm a money mindset coach. And so pretty much what I do is I coach women around their mindset around money to release any limiting beliefs, any blocks, so that they can start creating the life that they love.
Yes, and I'm going to show Kirsten's YouTube channel. And Kirsten, what was the name? And I'll introduce myself in a moment, but what was the name of the video we did together like a month ago?
Yeah, we did two videos. The one on my channel was how to manifest your dream life. And then the one on your channel is money in the chakras, or how money and the chakras are related.
Mm-hmm. Right. And actually, yeah, you had some great, oops, I just knocked over my meditation bell. You had some great, we had a great conversation with that. You definitely had some insights into that I really appreciated. So goddesses, there's a video, we both crossed over each other's channels. When people from your favorite sitcom show up in the other sitcom. I don't know. That's a random, but it's
cameo appearances.
They what? A cameo?
Yeah, we did a cameo.
Yeah, I really like lives, and I always tell anybody who shows up, welcome if you're just joining us. Hey, goddesses. Hi, bliss babes, which is what I call my younger members of the audience, and the wise women are, and you decide what age group. I don't try to put you in the age group because. And so both Kirsten and I today, we're doing a very Sunday casual, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. When we came out, I was like, oh, that's so funny because I just put this on and put my big earrings from my friend.
I love those.
I love these earrings. So what are we talking about today? So if you're new to my channel, first of all, this is Kirsten's channel below, which is really easy to get to. Okay. And we're talking about why. Basically, this topic has been very much present for me through clients, female clients, female friends, especially toxic people in their lives. And so I, spur of the moment, invited Kirsten here, and I just thought we could, first of all, maybe take questions. Kirsten, what do you think?
Yeah, I like that.
Some questions. Mm-hmm. I always do get great questions. So we're talking about why is it so hard for us to let go of toxic individuals. Like I said, this is a real thing happening in and around my life. And so that's why I'm motivated. So do give us some questions, and let me just right away and say hi in the comments. Say where you're from. As Kirsten said, Kirsten, can you see the comments?
I see. The last one I see is from
Is it Tanjila? Yeah. Hi, Tanjila. I like to call her Tanji. I'm not sure that it just is cute to me, Tanji.
Yeah.
Welcome, Tanjila. Shawnetta, hello. Okay. And we'll get more folks as they come in. So we're talking about why is it so hard for us to let go of toxic people? Mm-hmm. So how do we, there's so many directions we could go. I want to talk a little bit about self-love because I think that's really underlying it. Why do we allow people who clearly have shown us, what is the Maya Angelou? And I'm not big on quotes, but there's a beautiful quote. I think it's something like, what is it? When people show you how they are, believe them. Believe them. Mm-hmm. Right? Have you found that true in your life, Kirsten?
I have. I think what kind of gets in the way of that is because sometimes we have these ideas of who we want people to be. And I think that's been my struggle is I see the potential in someone and I want them to be better. And I'm like, no, but they're a really good person. They can be better. And so I look at that and I look at the imaginary image of who I want them to be, and I don't look at who they are showing me they are. And I think
Kirsten, I'm gonna take notes just because I also really want to keep track of where we are. So your
Mhm.
talk, say that there's one word that encapsulates what you're saying, which is potential.
Mhm.
Yes. Goddesses, what do you think of that? Again, give us your comments, but like you went right to it. Seriously. That's what it is. We're not seeing reality.
Mhm.
There
Mhm.
is what they could be, okay?
Mhm.
And there is what they are right
Yeah.
now. And in
Mhm.
fact, Kirsten, I would even say what they have been.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
thinking of dear friends of mine who are loving, kind people, but who get attached to toxic people. It's like this person was like this before you. They're like this now.
Mhm.
What, what is not clear? I'm serious. This just goes right to my heart because this is, I have a friend. What am I going to call them? I don't know. I'm just going to make up a great name. Hi, Audrey.
Yeah.
Yes, great topic. So, Audrey, what do you think of this idea that as women, we focus on potential? Is that something we're trained to do? In that it's like, it's seeing the beauty of a person, right?
Mhm.
I do. I see, oh my gosh, they're so gifted. Or what I find a lot is the person is nice part of the time. They're
Mhm.
nice part of the time. Now, this is really strong, but I'm going to say this because my friend bust out laughing when I said it. Okay, I said, you know what? Hitler had a girlfriend. Okay, that's it. That's all I need to say. Hitler had a girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
So he loved somebody. Somebody
Uh-huh.
loved him. Had a
Yeah.
relationship. She'd do yoga in the woods. Apparently, she was into stretching. I'm into like weird stuff, like finding out information.
So
They'd have lovely
fascinating.
meals together. I forgot what her
Mhm.
name was. But so he was Hitler, but he had a girlfriend, and so
Yeah.
on a
Mhm.
much, 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 much lower level, it's like I feel that sometimes we don't let somebody toxic go because they are kind at times. Maybe
Mhm.
they help us at times. Maybe they are very insightful
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah. At times.
At
At times.
times.
Yeah. That's the key word. At times, they are convenient, and we you get attached to that. We think they're like, oh, that one time they helped me out, or
Yes,
they make me laugh, or like, oh, they're such a fun person. But
sometimes. Yeah.
sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
they're really, they're really just they're slowly adding the poison to your life. That's how I see it. It's
Oh,
like they're just.
that's an interesting way to put it. It's almost like they're giving you a dessert, to
Mhm.
piggyback on what you just said. They're giving
Mhm.
you something sweet, but there's a little bit of poison mixed in.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's deep because it implies that at first you don't taste it.
Yeah.
So, Kirsten, I think you're right. No, I think you're right in giving them that because I think I'm going to be honest. I think I'm a little bit harsher about this because I'm like, as a friend, right? Ladies, give me a yes in the comments. If you or a friend, you see them and you're like, this person is so bad for you. Now, and I think this can be male or female. It
Mhm.
really can. Toxicity can come at you in so many different ways. And so
Mhm.
I think at first, yeah, maybe we don't see it again because we see the potential. But
Mhm.
as we're saying, the person also, they're not 100% bad. Nobody is 100% bad, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So in fact, we could take this into the yogic realm, Kirsten, in terms of, you see where I was going to go? I was going to go to like sattvic, rajas, like sattva, rajas, and tamas. Maybe
Mhm.
like getting too far out there, but it's the idea that it's things are rarely 100% pure and they're often in transition. Things are
Mhm.
rarely 100% bad. They're also in
Mhm.
transition, right? So,
Mhm.
ladies, bring us questions. Bring us questions or share your wisdom about this. So, I just want
Yeah.
to read, yeah, let's take a look at the comments. And Kirsten, anytime you want to pop in, if you see a great comment,
Yeah.
people will always show their true side, yet given
Mhm.
time, given
Mhm.
time.
But I think the challenge or the problem that we face is like when they show us their true selves, what do we do? Do we continue the relationship or do we walk away? I think that's kind of where we get trapped. It's like, yeah, we see that they are toxic, and I see that happens to a lot of people, but we still continue the relationship.
So how many times do you give a person? Do you have a set limit? I mean, I don't think most of us do, but is there a certain point at which you say, I'm done? Yeah. And then maybe I'll share a story. So yes, Tangela, Shawnetta, hi, Audrey. Yeah, share do you have any wisdom about how to deal with toxic people? Why do we let them stay for too long? Because that's what I've seen. That's what I've seen with women is they're there, they're acting up, they're tearing apart our lives. And we start thinking, Kirsten, I feel like what happens with women a lot, we ruminate is the word I would use. We talk to our girlfriends about it. Why did they do that? I don't know. They did this. And then I said that. And, well, I'm texting him and he said this. And it's just this messy, like, ugly, like, thing, right?
Why do we do that as women? It's so true. Like, even when he said that, I was like, I thought of like so many of my girlfriends, my mom, of how like when there's a problem, it's like you tell this person, you tell that person, you tell that person, you tell your auntie,
the other people.
Yeah, and it's like this just constant, like you said, this mess.
Yeah.
Because instead of trying to like take action and move away from the problem, you just kind of sit in it. Like.
Yes. Yeah. We're so visual. I feel like you and I were getting all like visual and tactile. And she said we're sitting in it. I was just like, like, and it gets stinky, you know? Yeah. So Shawnetta says, discontinue the relationship when you see the true side. But Shawnetta, do you do that? Did you have to grow into that? Because that's my question to you. Because, okay, so I'll share a story here. I have a friend who, you know, and this is a composite. Let's make it a composite. They're dealing with someone who in the past has done some very supportive things, no doubt, but has a history with others of being a certain way, such that even the friends who meet my friend are like, oh, well, you know, just they kind of warn you. Like, have you ever been with someone where people actually warn you? Oh, you know, well, good luck. Like, good. Yeah. Where that person's friends actually try to warn you without saying it in so many words. So what happened though is I've had friends where they do reach a point of enough is enough. The thing is, I feel by then we really have been toxified. Like Kirsten, like you're saying, they put a little bit of poison. By then, the poison is throughout the dish. What we were like sitting with them and sharing with them. Instead of being nourishing, it's now completely rotten.
Yeah.
How do we stop it sooner? Like, how do we stop it sooner?
Yeah. I think that's a really good question. Yeah, because we kind of let it, and I've experienced that too, where it's like you kind of let it get to the point of like, okay, it's like do or die. You know, you're like, okay. But
like you've reached your limit. You really have reached like a limit. Yeah.
And I think, you know, I personally, I feel like when I've gotten trapped in that, I feel guilty, you know, like I feel like I don't want to be like a bad person, or I feel like I need something big in order to cut the relationship. Like it can't, like I need some big excuse, you know, to like cut the relationship versus just like, oh, you know, I don't like the vibe, or I don't like the energy.
Right. Or it's not meeting your standards. Like, can we, especially as Black and brown women, you know, primarily my audience, right, is I love that. Like, can we just say, you know, this internally, you don't have to tell the person, but this isn't meeting my standard. You've shown them, and by your behavior, hopefully you've been, you know, you've been good. You've been, I like the word impeccable, which doesn't mean perfect, but you have modeled what you want from them, and you've tried to give them that, right? And they're still coming at you with what really might be emotional problems, like some of the cases I've seen. Okay, and again, I'm going to make it a composite here because I'm not trying to call anybody specific out. But the person may, in fact, we often know they have trauma. Do you feel like that? Oh, well, they had trauma when they were little. They had troubles with their mom. They were a foster kid. oh, their
Yeah.
father beat them. Now, that's a fact, right? We're not so woo-woo that we're going to deny that, but that because that's ridiculous. But when is the point where the person has to want to heal?
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's like, when does it become their responsibility? And that's what I have said to friends and clients. And let me know if you've had clients. We can talk some about the work you do with clients because maybe there's an interface here. But I've had to say to like, it's just like, yes. Anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought because it took me into this deep place of trying to go back to this conversation I had with a friend. But just that, you deserve better. And what I know in my heart is when you let go of the toxic, something fills the gap. And I did want to get to this later in our chat, is the idea that what will fill the gap when you let them go? I want to write that down. Like, what will fill the gap? Because I think that's a crucial moment when you've released the person. What comes in to fill it, right?
Yes.
But before we go there, let's go back to how do we know, like you just shared, okay, what I heard you say, Kirsten, is that it has to be like something dramatically bad has to happen where you can kind of point to it and say, that's it. That really crossed the line. I didn't like how you acted in front of friends. I didn't like how you treated this family member of mine, which is what I saw happen. You physically hit me, and that's just not acceptable. I'm not gonna, no, like, I'm not gonna go down that road. So I think that is a lot of women. I think it's like, it's okay. So I'm not gonna end it. Maybe we feel lonely. Maybe self-esteem tells us, and I really believe this is underlying it, is there's some self-esteem issues when we let toxic people in our lives. Give me a yes if you agree, because I think that toxic people won't tend to stay in our lives unless, there's something that they're getting. They're like almost feeding off of something.
I was thinking that. I'm like, they're like a parasite.
Really? So you were, and you guys, we didn't rehearse. Like I said, Kirsten just stepped in. If you're just joining us, last minute, I said, Kirsten, I want to talk about why we as women specifically allow like toxic girlfriends, toxic boyfriends, just why do they stay in our lives? Why do we let them stay? And she jumped on this with me. So Kirsten, for those just joining us, because some people, just say again what you do and maybe give some perspective from your work where you've seen people, where is there a link with money and toxic people potentially?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think, let me introduce myself first before I go down that path. So hi everyone that jumped on. My name is Kirsten, and I'm a money mindset coach for Black women, and I help women to change their mindset around money, fix those limiting beliefs, create an abundance mindset so that they can live the life that they love. And so I think, toxic people when it comes to like money can look so many different things. It can look, because there's a thing, I remember I did a podcast episode about this with a friend who's also a coach about like financial abuse and how like some people, like some relationships, some people will try to control people's finances or dictate how they spend. Or take from, sometimes you have that friend or that family member, that person that seems to always, need a little extra money or need some help in financial situations. And I think there's a lot of guilt that can come with that of like, I have this money, I want to be able to provide for them, I want to help them, but really we're not helping them. We think that we're helping them by, giving that financial aid, but it's all we're doing is slowly training them to see that I can always take from them. I think that, that's what kind of where we have to take responsibility of like, if a person is toxic and they keep taking from you, you have to draw that line eventually, because there's going to be a point where they are just like, well, I know that Kirsten's always going to give it to me every time I've asked, so she's going to keep giving it to me. So then it becomes this a habit for them, and it's on us to break the cycle.
because in a way we're weakening them. Like I hear you saying, and I do have two sides to that. And goddesses, jump in the comments. Have you had family members or even friends who have, it's not just an emergency, because Kirsten, I do think, and especially in the Black and brown communities, right?
Yeah.
I was watching another, beautiful sister who was just sharing that, you want those friends who, you can call at 1 a.m, I'm stranded and such, like just come. They don't question you. It's like, oh, where are you? Okay, I'm coming for you. So, but yeah, you don't want to develop where you're the successful one. And I say this because I have definitely seen that. Oh, so she has money, meaning your money that you earned, that you worked, right? It was not given to you, that you worked for, that you you sweated for, now is sort of like a rolling bank for another family member or friend. Yeah, that is clearly not, but we fall into that too sometimes. Give a yes if that's happened to you, or any other sort of financial abuse, goddesses. I want to go back though, Kirsten. You said something about that I think in a way is worse. Go back a little bit. When you named like 4 kinds of financial abuse. One of them was just simply where, and it's often is the male, where they have control of the relationship because they bring the money. That I think is even more, just more toxic and more difficult than somebody who's always wanting money from you. Talk about that a little bit, that you've seen, like, especially with clients or even just out in the world.
Yeah. And I think that it's like when someone other than yourself has control of the finances, I think it can devalue your self-worth. Because you're not, because a lot of, the society, we associate money with value and with worth.
Yeah. What is the value of that? What's the cost? Yeah, exactly.
And when you're not able to access money, to have money, to make your own money, what does that do to your sense of value? What does it do to how you feel if you have a place in this world? Because in order to function in this world, you need money. And if someone else is controlling that, it's like you can almost be very disconnected from society as well. So I think
from self-esteem, right, and a sense of self-esteem. I mean, of course, we both know as spiritual women and the women watching my channel, like when people say things like charge what you're worth, I'm like, well, that's impossible. Like, how are you going to really charge what you're worth? I mean, it's this much $1 trillion. Like, what is that? It's not real, right? It's what you feel the service is worth, but not what you're worth. Like, you're beyond the price of coins, and lira or dollars or yen. I mean,
it's an important distinction. Yeah, charge the service, not you, because your worth is limitless. Like there's no there's no amount of money
that's important. Because so I don't really like that phrase. Now I know it's meant to kind of boost you and charge what you're worth, but so then you raise your prices 2 years later. It's just more superfluous. Like, I want to refer to Steph Perry here, who we both know, and check out her channel, you guys. She goes, is it Vicarious? Is her channel called Vicarious?
I think it is. Yeah.
Perry. If you look up Stephanie Perry or Vicarious or Black Women Travel, and she talks about actually in terms of just rest as reparations. Welcome if you're just joining us, but also just that we can rest, like, for our ancestors who couldn't. Like, that was so deep for me because I don't tend to be a person who rests because the hustle culture is just so dominant, and you really. I do think, of course, you have to work to build a business if you're self-employed, or even if you're employed, you have to work. Yes, but in America, like, Kirsten, talk to us a little, like, what motivated you? Does this tie in any way? Not necessarily the toxic people part, but in terms of work and worth, in terms of you're moving to Spain. She lives in Spain, you guys, now, for those of you just joining us. So, And
I think, I can kind of tie it into the toxic people, because a lot of people are like living in Spain, coming from California, because I'm originally from Los Angeles area, and a lot of people are so surprised because Los Angeles is like super glamorous, and they're like Spain is great, of course, too, but it's very different. And I think it's and I was talking about this earlier today with a friend, and like it's the lifestyle in California. I felt like it was a very toxic lifestyle because everyone pushes you to work until you're exhausted. Like there is no stopping, there is no resting, there is just grind, 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 and that is a toxic mentality. And I was around people that were like that. They were just like, give, 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 keep going, working, and I'm like, I'm not enjoying my life that way.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think I don't think we had gone into such depth about it. So goddesses, do you relate to that? Where, most of my audience, again, welcome if you're just joining us. We're talking about toxic people in our lives in general, but that has led us to talk about toxicity in general. And, Kirsten really is a Californian because I'm a New Yorker, so we feel like Californians are laid back. So imagine that. We're like, oh, those people. I had a friend who I trust very, very much, and he's like trying to tell me the vibe, the difference in vibe. And he goes, there really is. The West Coast is more laid back, specific in California. And so if you found them driven, imagine like if you came to New York, because New York is definitely like amped up, or it was pre-COVID.
Yeah. That's true. We are laid back in a sense, but it's like you have to earn that. I felt it's like you have to, when you put in the hours and you work really hard, then you deserve to kind of rest and chill for a little bit.
So hard, play hard. Work hard,
that's
play
what it
hard.
is. That's what it is. That's the mentality. It's a work hard, play hard mentality instead of just just relax and live living a balanced life. That's not really a thing.
No, it's not. That's considered boring. You're underachieving.
You're underachieving. Yes.
Underachieving. Yes. And actually, and back to Steph, she's the one who got me thinking about that, because like Stephanie Perry, like I said, check out her channel on Black women expats or taking a sabbatical. And she, she's in Mexico a lot of the time. And she talks about that it's just an attitude difference, right? And honestly, I can't understand it. Like I hear you guys telling me, I would have to experience it because I grew up in America, right? I'm from Jamaica, but I grew up, which I'm, I know was more mellow, but here I am in America, since age 8 or 9, that's young. You take on that culture. And we moved to New York City. And basically people come to New York City for very few people are born. New York City is the type of place where you go to go after your dream. That's just what it is. And I think LA is the same way though, Kirsten. That could be part of it. That could be part of it. Is that these are cities where people almost have idealized in their brain. And it's sort of the top of like media, it's the top of fashion. So you go there. So maybe it's also just the wrong place for people like us. I don't know. So ladies, do you have any questions? Let's get some questions about dealing with toxic people or toxic situations, Kirsten. Like I said, I think that's brilliant for you to bring in that maybe it's not one person. Like, I was thinking of toxic people, but can a place be toxic for you?
Yeah.
Can a place be toxic for you? And I know, but I want to get some comments from our viewers. And let me just check, is everything up? Guys, can you still hear and see us over on YouTube? Welcome if you're just joining us. I'm Viv. I'm going to do a quick intro again. And welcome to Yoga Bliss Dance. I often do a live on Sundays. We're talking about toxic people. Why do we as women tolerate toxic people in our lives? Because I've been seeing this. I didn't just make this topic up. It's been playing around me a lot recently. And so I called on Kirsten, who is a money mindset coach, and she coaches Black women. She has moved and manifested her life to where she is now, which is Spain. And so we're just having a conversation about toxicity and can a place be toxic? Have any of you found either toxic people? How do you How do you release them? How do
Mm-hmm.
you release them? That's my question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Shawnetta, I'm going to put your comment up. Okay. Okay. Can you share a little bit about that? So, Shawnetta is like definitely places. I know places can be toxic. Now, they may not be toxic for everybody,
True. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like if you're an introvert and a nature girl, should you be in, living in Brooklyn? I mean,
Right.
you could, but is it ideal?
Yeah.
Right? Are
Yeah.
you thriving or are you, I'm okay, I'm surviving, I've got a great job, my job has benefits. What do you think about when we as women, like, oh, well, my job, I can't leave my job, but the job is toxic. So that could be a place in that it's a workplace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like. Yeah. I was gonna ask about
Hmm.
tea.
What
Tea.
did you see?
Tea.
Yeah, T. Wortham.
With them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to know, like, how are you starting to come to that realization? Like, what's kind of clicking in your mind to help you to understand that a place can be toxic too? I would love to know that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I want to like leave a little gap and space for people to really take in what we're saying and for us to
Mm-hmm.
like in our divine feminine way, just leave a little space because I think things don't hit us all the time. Like when I was in academia, and so to give her, maybe she'll, they will share more. It I realized pretty quick the place was toxic,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't leave quickly. And so
Yeah.
again, this mirrors the idea of a relationship. Maybe someone watching us is in an abusive relationship, a toxic
Mm-hmm.
relationship. Maybe it's not even physical abuse because that's so clear cut. Maybe it's
Yeah.
emotional abuse, or as Kirsten mentioned earlier, for those just joining, she was talking about financial abuse, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
you're in a relationship and maybe the partner is the one who's fully supporting you, and so obviously very like maybe you're disabled or maybe you stay at home with the kids or whatever reason, right? What were the other money related toxicities that you mentioned? Four. I mean, you may.
I know. One I wanted to mention that I don't think I mentioned before was like the friend. 'Cause I've had this before too. The friend that always has something to say about your money, where they're always like maybe judging how you spend your money or how you use your money.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
kind of, or the friends that are negatively influencing you to how to spend your money, like they may be the one saying like, yeah, it's okay, like come out, like it's
Treat
okay,
yourself, right, right. Yeah, you deserve it. Hmm.
but but it's not that treating yourself moment. Yes, you should treat yourself, but in a way that it also supports your financial goals instead of puts you more in debt or like just charge it. I've definitely had some people in my life who are like, just charge it. It's okay. It'll be fine. Just charge it. Worry about it later. And like,
Yeah, no, that's not good advice. Yeah, and Queendom Come, we can, you guys can take a moment and read what she was sharing. She's like, you've got almost like you got to roar back. If it was two lionesses, you've got to show them your roar so that they'll take a step back. And I
yeah.
do think that that's in some ways we might be trained to do that. I do think that's necessary sometimes. I think
Yeah.
sometimes that's usually a pretty bad case, though. Wouldn't you
Mm-hmm.
say, Kirsten, where you have to, like she said, let them see the dark side of you? Like, I think that's a pretty bad case if it has to get to that,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's an extreme. It's necessary for those extreme cases because some people
Yeah.
won't get it. Some people, I definitely have had experiences, or not myself, but other people where they cut someone off. The person keeps calling them, keeps reaching out. Sometimes you got to be like, nope.
Yeah, yeah. And she said almost get scary with them, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's when you're in the zone where people really are almost unhinged. And I'm not quite talking about that, but yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to really kind of step up to the plate. So wait, Kwana says that I feel like Black culture conditions Black women to be strong. Oh, absolutely. And to
Mm-hmm.
never count on anyone. I watched
Mm-hmm.
every very feminine Black woman getting criticized for having a man partner that provides. Really? I think that's fantastic.
Right?
I wouldn't criticize. Why? I mean, what is
Yeah.
that? I'm sure she's doing something. You know, I always think you earn your money.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's something she is providing.
Yeah.
There's value. There's value.
Right. There's value there.
There's
Yeah.
value there. We may not see it, or, you know, but I mean, honestly, the relationships I see, both partners are working. So that's, you know, as a rule, that's what I'm seeing. I'm going to go through some more of the comments. If you see something great, Kirsten, let me know.
Okay.
There were no coincidences, so I released parts of myself which still can contribute in toxicity in general by having healthy boundaries. Yep, and my value. And also self-sabotaging, working on myself. Okay. I think she's saying like both, right? So she's so healthy boundaries, definitely.
Yeah.
So Kirsten, if we have healthy boundaries, and I'm going to be honest, ladies, this is a really big issue for me. Therapists have told me, because I'm literally am an empath. So I start to like blend, which is really so boundaries, right? Like get your edges clean. Like this is me and that's you. And growing up in the type of family I grew up in, which I don't know if I want to go, that's take us into a whole other conversation for an hour, right? But where boundaries of the children weren't respected. Give me a yes if you've had that. And I think that's very common in households where there was some trauma. The children were not. You know, I was constantly told, it may seem simple, but I was constantly told very angrily that I should smile more. Why wasn't I smiling? And I typically wasn't smiling because something horrible was going on. So what you're being told is, like in a good therapist, like explaining it to me, because you don't know as a child or as a teen, like you're being told like you're supposed to lie about this situation. You see us yelling at each other in the home, and you see daddy threatening mommy, or vice versa, you're supposed to keep smiling. And that is enforcing kind of a lie on a child, right? So not good. Not good. Yeah. So yeah, let's put up some of these. Oh, so okay, let's see. There's some great conversations going on here. Or feminine Black women are called too weak or act. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to put this one up here.
Okay.
Shawnetta, yes. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Ooh, that one, like,
I know, right? It's like, really? So, because you get it from either side. You're too strong, you're emasculating the man, you're not in your proper role. And then here's Shawnetta saying, or you're called too weak or acting too white, right? Because it's like, oh, you're not delicate. Now, isn't that really deep? Because that immediately takes me back to like slavery times, like, like, you know, who do you think you are, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like you don't have a right to complain. You're tired. Just, I mean, if people can't really see before something comes out of their mouth that this is rooted in, you know, passing through generations, then I don't even know what to say. Yeah, because when you say acting too white, then that means, and that's, so Shawnetta, thank you for bringing that up, because that's saying to that woman, like, yeah, you're not delicate, but you have emotions and feelings. Well, you know, it's really sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, and as someone who has been at the back end of that comment, like I see now like how really degrading it is, because it's like you're trying to strip me of my identity. Like you're trying to tell me that I can't identify with my culture, with, you know, with who I am, the color of my skin, because I'm acting too white. Like it's that right there, and that I wasn't aware of. Like, but all those people that made those comments when I was younger, those are the toxic people in my life, and I didn't realize that, you know, because
you were probably very young, right?
I was young.
Yeah. This is a great conversation. I just want to welcome those. The numbers just went up quite a bit more. Welcome. I was saying to Kirsten when we do a live, like typically YouTube, it takes about 45 minutes, but welcome if you're just joining us. We're talking about toxic people and or places, right? And Shawnetta had a great comment that especially, you know, of course, yeah, Black and brown women, like I don't think it's exclusively to Black women. I'm sure in some other cultures, you'd be told to, like, you just need to just, you know, almost like you know, you can't act that way. You can't act pained or hurt or or tired or fed up, you're basically forced into being strong when you might be falling apart. You may have been sexually assaulted, and maybe it was a few months ago, and people are like, okay, move forward. Like, just stuff like that is just not healthy. Just it's end of story. It's just not healthy,
Yeah.
Kingdom come. Okay. Having a dad who is a psychologist. Well, I think I would have loved to have a dad that's a psychologist. I'm trying to, but I've heard from other people that can be difficult because, well, they try to kind of work with you, but I'm like, well, how else? They're your parent, so they have to put it into play, but they have to feel like they're not working with you. So that seems really tricky to me.
Yeah, I feel like that would be really hard to navigate.
Yeah, that's tricky because, so they see what the problem is. They need to fix it, but without making you feel like they're therapying you.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a tough one that you've gone through. So when you have traumas that you address and doesn't apply his solutions to it himself. Yeah, I feel like, can you break that down a little more? I know we're typing, like people are, when I type on YouTube, I'm trying to type fast and get my comment in. But do you feel like you can flesh out her comment? Because I feel like
yeah, when you have traumas that you address and it doesn't.
Traumas that you address, you want to address the trauma yourself.
I'm wondering if it's like, because I kind of think of like the masculine energy and how like, masculine energy is like fixing the problem. So maybe it's like he has a way that he wants to, address it or fix the traumas, but it's not really the type of healing that you might need. That's how I interpret it. Please tell me if I'm off.
Thy queendom come. Yeah. Break that down a little more for us. We will we'll come back to it. I could definitely see that you'd have, here it is. Here's the comment. He has that's a whole other level, right?
That is, yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like we're all flawed, but then this particular dad has these tools, has this training, but it's almost like he has a blind side, right?
Yeah.
Or what do you call it? Like the shadow side.
Yeah.
That's a great comment, and that's really deep. So a person has a shadow side where they're very competent. Maybe he helps other people really well with their trauma. But his own, right? Yeah. Yeah, I do get that. That would be difficult, because then they can almost out like mental you in dealing with the problem, right?
Right. Yeah, they're like reverse psychology it. And you're like, no, wait.
Because they're really smart about it, and they're like, it's like you're almost like fencing, and you're trying to go around them. That is so funny. Well, I mean, you've done your own healing by Queendom Come, right? So I think the last thing I was thinking of, and then there may be more. If you have questions, you guys, welcome if you're just joining the stream. So Kirsten, real briefly, again, say who you are, because you're new to them.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Kirsten. I'm currently living in Spain. I'm from Southern California originally, and I am a money mindset coach, and I help Black women to shift their negative beliefs around money so that they can start creating a life of abundance and a life that they love.
Welcome. So glad she's here. Maybe the last may not, see how much stamina we have, but my question was, once we see that the person is toxic, they've just tripped us up enough times where and this is what I noticed, what happens with women, we get angry, and then, like a friend of mine, I could share this, said to me, she goes, I'm done. And there's a tone in her voice that I now believe her, because believe me, we've been done for like a year, right? I've been hearing the stories, and the cutting off wasn't happening. There would be, oh, well, he texted me. Well, and he said this, and I'm like, I thought you were done with him. Why is this happening? And that would go completely
Mhm.
over their head, and they
Mhm.
would just continue on with the drama, right? So once
Mhm.
we've gotten to that point where we're fed up, we realize they've really done something that we just can't make an excuse for, right?
Yeah.
There's no more excuses for this. Their trauma, maybe I didn't understand them. Maybe I was too quick to respond. Whatever. We can't make any more excuses. We see that this person isn't ready to heal, and they're
Right.
hurting us. They're hurting family, perhaps.
Mhm.
So we cut it off. But what I think even a trickier phase is what will fill it. What
Oh,
will
that's
fill
right.
it?
Yeah.
Meaning, and ladies, this is deep. When we get rid of the so-called toxic person, what if in a few months we're like, oh yeah, I'm ready for a relationship now. And boy, don't you know, you just meet the very same person in another like set of clothes, right?
Mhm.
That can happen. That can happen. So
Mhm.
how do we prevent just repeating when we get rid of one toxic person? Because what I wanted to touch on, Kirsten, and try as best I could to hammer home, goddesses, is that until we heal the wound, the will keep the problem will keep recreating itself. I've seen it
Yeah.
in myself, and I've
Yeah.
seen it in others. So for instance, the say the friend gets rid of this toxic partner, is the next one going to be different, or
Mhm.
are they going to seem good on the surface, and then very soon we're back in the same place. Different story, right?
Mhm.
Different. They're taller, they're shorter, they're lighter, they're darker, they have a
Mhm.
different job, but somehow the situation, wow, it's the same all over again. Why does
Yeah.
that keep happening to me, right? Oh, I
Yeah.
love this one. Quana facts. There's a tone I use when I say I'm done. Yeah, it's for real. No turning back or excuses. I take an herbal bath and reflect on it. I
I
love
like
that.
that.
I
Yeah.
like that. So once she's in her bath,
She's
it's
like,
over. Just pack.
release, releasing.
Release. Yes. Releasing it all.
Yeah.
Getting my Himalayan sea salt right now. I'm done
Yeah.
with you. I like that. Remember that. Take a bath.
Take it back.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, take a bath. I'm washing you off, okay? You're going
Literally.
down the drain. It's
There you
over.
go. Oh,
But
love
there
it.
is a tone. There is a tone I hear when a person is truly finished. There's a finality, and you feel they can't go back from it because it's almost like they've said it so strongly, but finally this everything is in alignment. Yeah, and the subconscious, actually I think I like it with that, with the light off. The subconscious is like, oh, she's for real, like, yeah, she's done with this,
It's done. Yeah.
she's done.
Yeah.
And your subconscious just shrugs like, okay, she's done, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, what does she want? you know how do we not repeat it though? Any last tips on how do we not repeat it?
I think it goes back to like what you said in the beginning of self-love. Like I think the only way to really fill that void is with self-love. Um, and because when that void is empty, it's like you're still you got something from that relationship. Even though it was
Yeah.
toxic, you still got something from it. Maybe you felt valued, maybe you felt loved, put that in air quotes. Maybe you just got the attention that you wanted.
Yes, yes.
You got something. And
Mm-hmm.
usually, whatever you were seeking from that toxic relationship was because you were lacking in some area. You seek, you're seeking the attention because you're not giving the attention to yourself, or you're seeking the love because you're not getting the love. You're not giving the love yourself. So I always feel like, it goes back to self-love, and only you can really define what that self-love is for you. Because I think that self-love is such a term that gets thrown around a lot. And yes, it can be, like I'm going to take myself on a vacation, or I'm going to, take a bubble bath, which I think everyone should do. Go on a walk in nature. But I think that having a self-love practice, I think that's the key, is having a practice for self-love so that you can go to it when you feel tempted to go back to that toxic relationship.
You know, it's funny because I don't feel like I have a practice of self-love. Can you
Mhm.
talk about what that is for you? Like, I
Yeah.
like, because my sense is you're saying if it's habitual enough or it's said enough, you don't have to be like thinking, like with Quana, it sounds like, okay, she knows like the bath is something she will do,
Right.
maybe with
Yes.
certain essential oils. She
Right.
knows, okay, this is what, when I need to like let go of something that was negative, I'm going
Yeah.
to do this kind of bath. So, yeah, can you share for
Yeah.
you?
And I love that one because I feel like, because me, like being in water is so powerful. It gives me that sensation that I feel like I seek when I've been in toxic relationship. It gives me that wholeness, that feel that like, yeah, the wholeness. So my self-love practice, I think, is journaling.
Okay.
I think because it allows me to be honest with myself, it allows me to feel my emotions. It allows me, to get everything out, because you can't, even though you talk to people, and I think that's also part of my self-love practice, is to talking to a good friend.
Good
You,
friend. Yeah.
someone you trust, you don't say everything. You say a lot, but you don't say everything because you're not gonna. like,
No.
You're not gonna. And so when I journal, I can let it all out. Even if it's the craziest thought, even if it's like the darkest emotion, I can let it out, and I give it a place to release. That's what journaling is like for me. And then movement is also another self-love practice for me. I think anything that helps me to connect to my joy is part of my self-love practice. When I feel joy, that's when I feel like I'm experiencing self-love.
Oh, wow. That is so funny. I have to show you. So I picked cards for myself this week, and you're
Yay!
going to look at this. Can you see this card?
Ooh,
Playfulness.
playfulness.
Yeah. Isn't that
Love
funny,
it.
goddesses? And she's talking
Yeah.
about that. And yeah, I get so serious. I get too serious because, I was raised, I love my parents, and I'm doing, I have them on my altar. I'm trying to really make peace. But that's an ongoing thing. But they were depressed. They suffered from what would be diagnosed as clinical depression. There is no doubt in my mind. But back in the day in the islands, what the hell? Clinical
Yeah.
depression.
Yeah.
They function, they work, they raise their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, they're fine, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody try to label anybody, and
Mm-hmm.
it just wasn't happening. They would have been like, "Oh, have a drink," just chill out, or you
Yeah.
know, put on
Mm-hmm.
some music, or probably my dad would play some dominoes. Apparently, he was a mean dominoes player in his youth, or gamble
Nice.
or something. So yeah, when you
Mm-hmm.
start journaling, Quana has a response for you.
Good for you,
Wow.
girl. That's
Okay, but
amazing.
Quana, what do you do with all the damn journals? I'm
Yeah,
I'm
like
asking you.
that is my
I
question too.
I mean, Kirsten, you moved to Spain. What do you have, a trunk of journals, girl? What are you
I
doing?
honestly, the past 2 years, I have just kept my journals. And when I move in, when I move into a new place, I'm gonna get a bookshelf, and I'm just gonna keep them because I go back to them. I go back to them and I reread. Not everything, because I don't think I need to reread everything, but
Yeah, you don't
sometimes,
need to read everything. Episodes
yeah,
of your life.
yeah. But sometimes I will, like, it's nice to see, one, if I reread it, I see the growth. Like, I see where I was. Oh, you burned that.
Yes,
But
yes.
I see the growth, and I'm like, oh, I'm not trapped in that thinking anymore. I'm not even worried about those things anymore. That's great. And sometimes I'll write like quotes or messages to myself, and I'm like, yeah, I needed to hear that. Like, I needed to be reminded of that. So it really depends on what I write in them. I used to like take pictures or retype some of the pages that I wanted to keep, and would keep them like in a Google Drive, but that kind of takes a long time. So I don't really do that anymore. But
Okay,
I'm open to any ideas though.
so basically you keep well, in the last couple of years, you keep all the journals,
Yeah,
which is now a whole shelf though.
it's at least five.
What do you mean it's at least five? Five shelves?
No, like five journals. Yeah.
Okay, 5 journals. How big are
Yeah.
these journals?
They're like, this is the one I have now, which is almost
Okay, let's
done.
see. We're gonna see Kirsten's journal.
So I have like this.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I 5 is my guess. I've had 5 in the last 2 years that I kept. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what. Okay. Well, somebody said burn them. I think that's a little much. I don't know if I feel. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I definitely I can't. Some of them have like different covers, so I couldn't burn them. That would probably be really toxic.
Be really toxic. She'll like she's burning her journals. She's found just laying there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Okay, Shawnetta says I go back and I look at old journals. I have to say that is the most powerful thing I got about the journaling. I think you're right. Of course, being able to self-express things that really you don't want to share with other people. But even more so as an adult, because I journaled when I was a little girl, what I feel like I got is seeing where you were at that point and realizing you really did grow. Because typically you can be like, oh man, you were worried about that? That was
exactly.
You know? So you're making me really I have not been journaling. And you're making me really think that I think it would be really helpful.
Yeah.
It would be a really helpful process. Here, let's see one more. Oh, online. Okay. And I read it now. I'm like, yeah, the growth is real.
It's real. Exactly.
It really is. And your tone of voice, like I literally could, it's like you're inside your head in this way where I really felt like I went back into I was reading like my journal from when I was 13. So it was like going back into that little girl mind.
Gosh, yeah.
So sweet. You know, you realize how sweet. I mean, you're still sweet, but you realize like, oh, wow, you know, this trauma at school and this friend who did this and the parents were doing that. And you realize how, like you're saying, when people would try to tell you just be tough or you know, you think you're white because you're actually hurt. You realize how sweet and how tender this young version especially was and what she was dealing with. Yeah. So making me feel like I have like art journals and I do things in a journal, but I don't journal. That's interesting. Let's see anybody else, but how can she store her journals? I like to notice my change in writing style. Interesting. Yes. Angela, let's see. Go back. Oh, that's so sweet. Who is this? Sharon Eyes Makeup. Yes, thank you. Sharon Eyes, do you keep a journal? Okay, Kirsten, you're going to tell me this is bad because part of it I think is, oh, it takes so much time. That's not a valid excuse, is it? I feel like.
No, because if you think about, and I know it does, you're right, it does. But if you think about how much time you spend doing other things that are not that valuable, like
not that valuable.
I'm like, because when I want to sit down and journal, and I'm like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do it, and I'm like, Kirsten, how many times were you on Instagram today?
Yeah, right.
How many series did you watch on Netflix? And I was like, yeah.
You had to go to Netflix binging. Okay, there's no need to get like that personal about it. How many shows did you watch back to back?
No judgment. I'm just in comparison with time.
Judging. I think that's it. I'm ending your stream right now. I can click a button and she'll just go poof.
She crossed the line. She crossed the line, people.
Yeah, really. Don't touch anybody's Netflix binging habit. In fact, let's just talk about how we can work around that, right? Like, that is a part of my life. How can I journal around my Netflix binging habit? Honestly, give me a yes in the comments if Netflix helped you through the through COVID.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to say what I was watching, but yeah, Netflix, and I really mean this. I would write to the actors in this particular show.
I love that.
It got me through COVID. Wait, what did she say?
Yes.
Oh, what Tangela said?
I'm not a journalist until now.
2017. No, that's awesome.
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah, and you keep them. Obviously, she's keeping them. But give me a yes if Netflix. I watched a series and it gave me something to look forward to, because I wasn't working, you guys. I was at home, and so I would do my online work. But I mean, I was trapped in one large room for most of COVID, Kirsten.
Mhm.
Like I moved, and this is still about toxicity, guys. So I hope you're with us. Hey, okay, great. There's like 18 folks live. So glad you're here. Let me know if during COVID you felt. I mean, I was trapped. I moved to a place where I literally couldn't walk, Kirsten.
Wow.
I did not own a car at that point, and I moved in with some friends
Mhm.
who were definitely they had my back in terms of like if the shit was really going to hit the fan and get worse, we were going to hunker down. They were ready to hunker down. Okay, we're talking supplies stored. I made fun of them in another video because I'm like, I'm not a prepper. I just befriend preppers. Okay, because I'm smart. I'm intuitive. I'm like, I sense somebody has toilet paper. Lots of toilet paper. They did, right? Seriously. Okay. So, and funny, I said did I say when the shit hits the fan? Okay, you see where my mind, these are connected. But there was no place to walk because they lived on the side of a very busy road. So not only did I gain 20 pounds, but walking in nature is key for my mental health. And that is what I lost during COVID. And so Netflix, watching a series on Netflix just gave me like, okay, the next week it gave me, actually I binge watched previous seasons, which was good. I needed that, right? Take me all the way through COVID. So I picked a long series and then it's like, got caught up. So I just give really thanks and prayers to the actors. I had a diary. Oh, yes. Sharon Eye's makeup. This is, and honestly, I was going to touch on this, Kirsten. I really was. But then I was like, oh, don't ask her that. But I think I got traumatized too. I don't know that it was red, or to be honest, my handwriting was so like you couldn't read it. But that's my fear. You write super personal things, and what if somebody gets to it?
Yeah. I was gonna say I have a friend that's like that too. She wants to start journaling, but she's like, "Oh, I'm just always afraid someone's gonna read it." And like, you live with your husband and like 3 cats. I don't know why you're afraid of that, but okay.
But she doesn't want her husband to read it.
But he's not the person that would. But I think it's more of herself. I think it's more of like she's afraid to like of what would come out. But I can go to that later. But anyways, my solution, or my suggestion, not really a solution, but my suggestion with that is one, start slow and maybe just do it virtually. Maybe just start journaling and then do it like on a Word document and then just delete it after. Like you don't have to keep it. Like I think the process of just writing out how you feel is healing. And if you like, I don't think you don't have to, or you can encrypt it, like there's ways like you can lock it in your computer somewhere and then kind of encrypt it and put it in a password safe thing. That is possible too. But yeah, that would be is to do it virtually. So it's not, because I had that too. My mom did. We're better now. But when I was younger, my mom did read my diaries. And that was traumatizing, which is maybe why I moved out at 18. But that would be, I would try doing it virtually and then just deleting it after or putting it in some like password safe file. So that way you have that sense of security, because that is a real issue. Not a lot of, some people live with roommates, some people live with spouses that maybe don't trust them. I think that is a real issue for a lot of people that want to start journaling, but are worried about the security.
I think it is a real issue. I certainly, with roommates, because they would think they know what they're doing is bad, but they'd be like, "Oh, well, I want to know what's going on with her. She seems depressed." So I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? They would make up a story, and then you feel like you've been revealed in a way that you didn't want to tell them. So I have one thing though. This is weird that and folks have such funny names like SRJ, up on the screen. I feel the opposite. I feel like true freedom is on the horizon thanks to COVID. I canceled my streaming accounts, got creative. Are you saying during COVID? Yeah, that's why I'm confused. Are you saying now freedom is on the horizon thanks to COVID? So that sounds like now and going forward, right, Kirsten? Or how do you read this one?
Uh,
Or
mm,
she's saying, yeah, so she canceled her streaming accounts and or was she talking during COVID?
I feel like maybe during COVID she canceled and maybe used that time for creative expression more.
I was supposed to get creative, but I wasn't able to because the situation was so stressful. Like I just couldn't access my creativity. That's a really good
Yeah.
point, and
Mhm.
probably another episode. But yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But I think for a lot of people, because I'm pretty sure Netflix stock and everything went way up during
It
this, right?
does.
Because
Totally.
we were inside. But yeah, each person coped in a different. I audio journal.
I like that idea. I saw that. Yeah. I like that idea.
I like that too. And I like the idea. The only thing, the digital is brilliant and it makes sense with the times we live in. But typing my thoughts is very
Mhm.
different than writing them.
It is. Yeah. It is.
So that's the only thing with, I love, yeah, you could encrypt it. You could have all sorts of like, weird
Mhm.
code hiding it. And did somebody break in and you could see. But
Mhm.
typing your feelings, I really don't think that's exactly the same in terms of the brain.
Exactly. It's not. I think that writing, specifically writing and typing also too, but writing particularly for me, it slows my thought process.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Having a pen and paper.
Mhm. Mhm.
So let's see, says, yeah, or okay, they're saying, I'm responding to, yeah. So yes, you became more creative. No, that's fabulous.
Yeah, that's
I
great.
mean, I think that's wonderful.
Mhm.
I still was doing stuff online. Like I still ran my
Mhm.
channel. So to me, I did have that creative outlet, but I think
Mhm.
the lack of physical activity is what undid me with COVID because I very much need a balance. Like, actually,
Mhm.
I've done meditation retreats where even the monks, like, this is like really weird. The monks are very serious in their brown robes and they look at me and they're like, oh, they're like, you need movement, you need to exercise, which is like a random thing. I wouldn't hear them say that to other people there. And it was because I was sitting for hours a day meditating, but they're like, oh, you actually need to like go for a long walk because it's
Mhm.
just like to balance my energy.
Mhm.
So
That's
yeah, I
great.
think that's what threw me off was the lack of ability to exercise during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
let's see.
That's
Well, if
it.
anybody has a last question for Kirsten before we close, yes, yes. Hi, Brown Goddess. I really like audio journal because your voice
Yeah.
is
It's
going
just
to tell you
necessary.
where you are.
Mhm.
But how do we store? We're just storing up audio files like that again that I get into. But Kirsten, no, this works with your digital thing. So record it on your phone, but then like upload it to Google. Like I don't really
Yeah.
think it needs a break in there, right? So you can lock it, but it
Yeah.
has the intimacy of voice, but it
Mhm.
has some security. I really like that audio journal idea. I
Yeah.
think the problems, so let me just think of it. Something came to me. When you write, right, you're able to kind of I know what this is what it is. You're able to glance and
Yeah.
maybe you'll even put headers. Like Kirsten, you seem like you might be organized in this. And so maybe you almost put headers or a theme.
Different
While
habits. Yeah.
if it's audio, I feel like to get to something you'd have to run through the whole thing. Does that make sense? Unless you put timestamps, but you're not going to do that. Like you're
Yeah.
not gonna,
You can. Yeah. When you have it visually, you can kind of pick and choose like where you want to read from versus the audio. You kind of have to like listen through all the way until. Because I know, like sometimes if I go back, I can skip over certain paragraphs and be like, okay, that was me being a little emotional. Here's the here's the good stuff that I can take away.
right. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. Well, I
Uh-huh.
was gonna say too, someone had said that they prefer writing instead of typing because it's different, and I totally agree. So going back to like the safety issue, like it's okay to just write it in a piece of paper and then just like tear it up and shred it. Like I think that's okay too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, because there's a freedom in that. There's somehow you've
there
expressed
is.
it,
Mhm. Yeah.
then you've released it. So that really feels like a process. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to think about
Mhm.
that. I'm
That's
definitely going to think about that.
journaling. Yeah. Even though it's not in a physical journal, it's still a journaling process. Like I still consider that journaling.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that this was a great conversation.
Yeah.
And Kristen jumped on. What time is it where you are? It's like late. It's like
Yeah,
9.
it's almost
Oh,
11.
it's almost 11. All
Yeah.
right. Well, it was lovely to have you again. And actually, let me put up real quick. This is her YouTube channel. If you just, are there many, well, just do Kirsten Brown 101. If you search, she'd come up as that, or just, you can remember her spelling, Kirsten Brown 101. I like that 101 to distinguish, and you will find her channel. So do go and support her if you are interested in money mindset, expat life. Will you be doing some expat life stuff? Okay, beautiful. And she will just be inspiring and just a fun channel to follow. So, oops, are there 2 new comments that I didn't see? Ladies, oh, great. Yes. Thanks, Shawnetta. So I'm going to say goodbye. Shawnetta, Kwana, Brown Goddess. Yes.
Everyone.
Bye.